No Splatoon 3 story spoilers until near the end. Splatoon 1 hero mode is fine. It has a great final boss that uses all the mechanics you've been using for the rest of the game, which is a great way to make a final boss. But other than that, it's a glorified tutorial with every level essentially being regular Gravity Mario Galaxy but with a gun. But it was all new at the time, and it's completely serviceable. Splatoon 2 hero mode. The positives. You can use more than just the hero shot. The ink had glitter. Callie and Marie got new outfits. The negatives. The story was basically the same as Splatoon 1's. There's only story at the beginning and story at the end and nothing in between. You had to find every level, which was annoying. You had to do every single level, you can't skip any. The levels themselves were all very easy and very forgettable. The new songs are kind of bad, and I usually like Splatoon music. The final boss is extremely underwhelming. It's overall lacking in personality. You get fewer rewards for beating it for the first time, and you have to repeat every level 9 times to get all the hero weapons. Considering this was the sequel, it felt worse. However, a year later, they released Octo Expansion, which fixed every problem I listed earlier with hero mode. It's much more creative both aesthetically and gameplay wise. It's simply oozing in personality and uniqueness, and there's much more level variety than just get to the end of the level. The only downside is that hard committed to having 80 levels, so a few of them are repeated concepts or levels that only take 10 seconds, but the quality is consistently high overall. The narrative is much better too. Pearl and Marina get to be fully fleshed out characters instead of silly news ladies. The finale is fantastic, and the extra bonus boss is challenging yet satisfying. I think Octo Expansion is the best Splatoon game content ever made. I don't know, I made a full review on it years ago. Do not watch it, all of my old videos are bad. Which brings us to now. Splatoon 3's hero mode starts out with a goddamn Kingdom Hearts 2.9 moment where it says, "We are doing the same exact thing for a third time." I love it when games make jokes about their own lackluster segments at the expense of the player who actually bought the game and had to play them. Anyways, after those lame ass levels, you fight a modified version of Splatoon 2's final boss. Just to remind you how weak sauce that one was. And this is where the real game starts. You're flushed down a toilet into the land of Alterna, where the real campaign, Return of the Mammalians, begins. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm getting some serious Bowser's furry vibes from this place. You go through Octo Expansion-esque levels where you pick a weapon and do a challenge to gain power eggs, then you charge your little buddy to remove fur blocking your path to get to the next levels, until you're able to collect 3 Octo Expansion-esque things across 6 islands, then go through an Octo Expansion-esque final challenge at the end. Does this sound familiar? The positives. As you can tell, it's very Octo Expansion-y, which, considering my earlier praise for it, is a good direction to go in. While many of the levels are get to the end levels, there's often unique mechanics or at least a gimmick there to make each level feel unique. Some levels are fast-paced where you're racing to the end. Some are slower-paced, more methodical levels where you're painting Mr. Bang Bang here. My favorite levels were the one where you had infinite special meter. Spider-Man! Everyone was clowning on the treehouse guy for not being able to beat the bow grinding level until they tried it themselves and realized it's way harder than it looks. But as you all know, I'm something of a bow expert, so you know what I did? I switched to the heavy splatting and beat it instantly. It was really easy. There's a whole skill tree to unlock new abilities and enhancements. Skill trees can be a hit or a big miss in modern games, and I thought this one was fine. Instead of the campaign simply feeling like an extended tutorial for multiplayer, I like how there are story mode exclusive abilities like Splashdown and yeeting little buddy as a sub weapon. The story is pretty good overall with an excellent finale. More on that later. I like how Callie has an increased presence in this one since she was, you know, barely even in Splatoon 2. As you do more levels, you gain more text in the Alterna log. Splatoon's lore up to this point has been vague hints here and there, so I appreciate how here there's earned exposition and the game just straight up tells you exactly what happened. You don't have to repeat any levels, they're all one and done. Like my sex life. Unlockables like the sunken sea scrolls, upgrade materials, and locker decorations are found outside the levels. The only downside to this is that little buddy is pretty finicky when it comes to pointing out buried treasure, and it's not like you can just paint everywhere to locate the stuff. You have to shoot the exact pixel to find it. That being said, if you unlock this ability on the skill tree, you can hop in the periscopes and have a general idea of where things are. The only level I did not like was actually the last level I did, which was the angle shooter level, because that subweapon does not shoot where you are aiming, and in this level you have to launch it in very precise angles in quick succession. Oh, and while I have you here, angle shooter is a stupid ass name. Why not just call it the line marker, which I'm pretty sure is the direct translation. It goes in a line and it marks people. Hello? Why would you give a subweapon the same name as a type of main weapon? If you just want to get to the credits quickly, you can skip a bunch of levels. The game is pretty generous with its power eggs, and some of the fur barriers you can find a way around without needing to use little buddy. My first time through the game, I skipped almost all of World 6. Secret bonus level spoiler section. However, if you do complete every level, you get a secret bonus level. I was expecting maybe a battle or a race with the captain, like at the end of Octo expansion. Instead, you know how at the end of a lot of Mario games, there's a Champions Road level that plays like a ROM hack? Yeah, Splatoon 3 has its own version of that. And for reference, I played every single level of Splatoon 3 in one sitting, which was a mistake. I'm getting older, I can't play fast-paced video games like Splatoon for as long as I used to, so I was pretty tired going into it, but I figured, you know, I'll just quickly beat this last level and be done. Y'all, this level was a mess. And by mess, I'm referring to the mess my Octoling's blood left from all the deaths. It is a test of the game's jankiest mechanics. You got the jumpy section where you have to squid surge, which doesn't work properly, the rail grinding sections, which are levels I usually enjoy, but here it feels like the game is straight up trolling you with its balloon placements. The blocks and missiles section, which wasn't too bad once you figure out what to do, and Girl Power Station 2, which for me was actually the easiest part. All you gotta do is not use Little Buddy to attack and use your splat bombs instead. The game says it took me 15 minutes, but doesn't count all the deaths. It actually took me 50 minutes. All the other levels are like 2 to 3 minutes long and have checkpoints every 10 feet. But in After Alterna, there's only checkpoints at the end of each section. So if you mess up at the end, you gotta go all the way back to the start of that whole section. But was it worth doing? You know, I was hoping to get the outfit you wear during the final boss battle for beating this level. Instead, you get some titles and some teddy bear ears. But I 100% completed everything. If you do every level and find every treasure and scroll and walk across every single square inch of Alterna, you know what you get? Some locker stickers and some phone backgrounds in the app. So yeah, it was definitely worth it. Story spoiler section. Get out of here if you haven't played it. It's only like 4 to 5 hours long to get to the ending, so if you have Splatoon 3 already, you can beat it in like an afternoon. Okay, spoiler time. Look, I knew Nintendo runs deep, and I've always loved doing collabs, but I never expected that in Splatoon 3 you would go to space and fight Darth Vader? I told you there's gonna be spoilers. Get out of here. Okay, for real now. I like how the members of Deep Cut start as antagonists and are the bosses you fight in Alterna. I thought that was an interesting twist. To this day, I'm not entirely sure how to successfully dodge Fry's eel NATO attack, and I had all but given up hope that Splatoon would ever acknowledge Mario Sunshine's existence, especially in an interview with the game's director where he said that he forgot it existed. Oh my god. So it was amazing to see the big man's fight where he's a flat manta that splits into mini mantas, being a direct callback to the Manta Storm level in Sunshine. That's the exact same thing. That's also a reference to The Shining? You fools, you've fallen for our trap. Now that you've acknowledged Sunshine's existence, you have to bring back Flood as a main weapon in Splatoon 3. That's the rules, I don't make the rules. In Octo expansion, the 4 things you collect are clearly the parts of a blender, and the player goes, wait, why are we making a blender? But here the 3 things you collect are like random objects. I thought you were making Metal Face. It combines into a sort of chainsaw, and you use it to get rid of all the fur near the rocket in a cutscene. Then you team up with Deep Cut, and got a lot of interactions between them and the Squid Sisters, which I really like. On top of the Sunshine reference earlier, something I haven't seen anyone mention is this Zipcaster part at the end. It could be a complete coincidence, but it could be a subtle reference to that double claw shot minigame from Zelda Twilight Princess. Or maybe I spent a lot of time in that minigame because I sucked at it, so it's burned into my memory. The reveal of the true villain was kinda obvious given that the campaign is called Return of the Mammalians and features a lot of fur, so unless they made up a new character, there were only 3 options of furry mammals it could be: Judd, Little Judd, or the mysterious Mr. Grizz. And the final salmon run stage in Splatoon 2 sort of hinted at it. Even though it was predictable, it was still a fun reveal with funny dialogue. His plan was to launch a rocket into space, crash it into Earth, and turn everyone into a furry? I don't know, there's worse ways to go. And let me tell you, I had more of an emotional reaction to the final boss of Splatoon 3 than I did to any cheesy music montage in a 20-minute JRPG cutscene. And that's because the strength of video games is through their interactivity. Splatoon 3 is an example of how through utilizing gameplay mechanics, the player is able to form a bond with these fictional characters. I don't like Little Buddy because he's cute. I like Little Buddy because he was with me the whole time, helping me out on all levels, so it's an ultimate catharsis when he goes, I'm Big Buddy now, and we help him out for once. I like Little Buddy because he was there, Dad! Anyways, let me dismount from my pretentious high horse. So what next? You banish Mr. Grizz into the Shadow Realm, but you can still play Salmon Run, and Mr. Grizz still speaks to you while playing. Also, when you play multiplayer now, Little Judd has a little earpiece, the next mammal in line. Did he take over Salmon Run? Using either a voice changer or pre-recorded voice clips? Is Little Judd going to continue in Mr. Grizz's diabolical footsteps as he searches for an identity in desperation of being a clone? And what about Marigold? Is she a clone? What's her role in all this? Are Inklings clones? When we respawn in battle, are we actually dying and being cloned? Are we going to have to wait for Splatoon 4 for answers, or will it be in the DLC next year? Whatever it is, I just hope it's not just Octo Expansion 3, and instead it's something completely unexpected, and the story involves more than just Pearl Marina. Maybe we'll see Asians 4 and 8, or anyone from the Deep Sea Metro, and hopefully more of the other idols, or at the very least the members of Deep Cut, since they were barely in hero mode compared to the Squid Sisters, who have been featured in 3 campaigns now. Ratings. I'd still say Octo Expansion is the height of Splatoon single player content. Splatoon 3 hero mode is a close second, but most of its ideas are just more Octo Expansion, so it loses some points due to lack of originality. Then a gap, then Splatoon 1 hero mode, then a larger gap, then Splatoon 2 hero mode. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Let me know below with what you thought of Splatoon 3 hero mode, and today's comment code word is chainsaw. Comment chainsaw to make it all the way to the end, and that's it, video's over.